Long before the England we know today, this land was a patchwork of tribes, forests, hills, and mystery. It was not yet a unified kingdom, nor even thought of as England. It was simply Britannia, home to the ancient Britons, Celtic-speaking peoples organized into tribes, each with their own kings, customs, and sacred places. But everything changed in 43 CE, when the Roman Empire turned its attention to this island on the edge of the known world. The invasion was led by Emperor Claudius, who sought military glory and political stability. Roman legions crossed the Channel and began their campaign of conquest. Over the next few decades, they subdued much of southern Britain, incorporating it into the Roman Empire as a province. Roman towns like Londinium, modern London, Camulodunum, Colchester, and Verulamium, St. Albans sprang to life. But despite these advancements, Rome never fully subdued all of Britain. The northern tribes remained largely independent, and Hadrian's Wall was built around 122 CE to mark the northern frontier. By the early 5th century, the empire was crumbling. Invading forces from all directions overwhelmed the Roman frontiers across Europe. The Western Empire could no longer maintain its distant provinces. In 410 CE, Emperor Honorius is said to have written a letter telling the cities of Britain that they would have to look to their own defense. And with that, Roman Britain came to an end. The legions left. Roman administration collapsed. The vacuum of power gave rise to competing local rulers, some former Roman officials, others native tribal leaders. With increasing threats from the Picts, Scots, and Irish raiders, many Britons reportedly invited Germanic mercenaries, mainly Saxons, Angles, and Jutes, to help defend the island. But these allies soon became invaders. They came from what is now modern Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands. Some were invited as mercenaries, others came as opportunists, and others, perhaps fleeing pressure from their own lands, arrived seeking new homes. According to later accounts, such as the Historia Ecclesiastica by Bede and the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, the initial arrivals included legendary figures like Hengist and Horsa, who were said to have landed in Kent in the 440 or 450. They were reportedly invited by a British ruler named Vortigern to help defend against northern threats. However, these allies quickly turned against their hosts, beginning a long and brutal period of conquest. Local British rulers resisted the newcomers, leading to battles whose names and outcomes have largely been lost to time. The Britons sometimes united under strong leaders, such as the semi-legendary Ambrosius Aurelianus, and possibly the figure remembered as King Arthur, though historical evidence is scarce. And it is at this point in history, around 495 CE, that a new leader is said to have arrived on the southern coast of Britain. His name was Cerdic. Unlike the early Saxon settlers in the east, Cerdic's landing point was in the south, likely near modern Hampshire. According to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, he and his son Cynric arrived by ship, bringing with them a warband and the intention of conquest. This wasn't simply another group of settlers looking for farmland. Cerdic came to take territory and build power. But what made him different from the others? His name itself hints at something unusual. While most early Anglo-Saxon leaders bore clearly Germanic names, Cerdic's name is Celtic in origin, a form of the name Caradoc. This has led historians to speculate that Cerdic may not have been a typical Saxon at all. He might have been a Briton, or at least of mixed descent, perhaps a Romanized Briton who allied with Saxon warriors to secure his own position. After landing, Cerdic is said to have engaged in a series of military campaigns against the Britons. One of the most notable events recorded in the Chronicle took place in 508 CE, when Cerdic and Cynric reportedly defeated a British king named Natan Leod, along with 5,000 of his men. They are said to have taken the surrounding territory, which became known as Natan Leaga, modern-day Netley, near Southampton. Over the next few decades, Cerdic continued to consolidate power, gradually securing a territory that would become the heartland of Wessex, including parts of Hampshire, Wiltshire, and possibly Berkshire. The Chronicle records that in 519 CE, Cerdic and Cynric took the title of kings, marking the official founding of the Kingdom of Wessex. And he disappears from the records after 534 CE, the year in which he is believed to have died, his dynasty would go on to shape English history in profound ways. When Cerdic died in 534 CE, his son Cynric succeeded him, and the Kingdom of Wessex, the land of the West Saxons, continued its slow and sometimes violent rise. According to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, Cynric ruled for 26 years, and during that time, Wessex began to push further inland. In 552 CE, he reportedly fought a battle at Cerdic, modern-day Old Sarum near Salisbury, and drove the Britons from the area. This marked a significant moment in the expansion of West Saxon control into Wiltshire, a region rich in rivers, hills, and ancient strongholds. Wessex, under Cerdic's descendants, would continue to push westward and northward over the next 2 centuries. They encountered resistance not only from Britons, but also from rival Saxon and Anglo kingdoms. In the 7th and 8th centuries, Wessex often played the role of underdog to the mighty Kingdom of Mercia, which dominated central England, but the House of Cerdic endured, and in time its fortunes would reverse. The turning point came in the 9th century with the rise of Egbert, a descendant of Cerdic who became King of Wessex in 802 CE. Egbert would go on to defeat the Mercians at the Battle of Elendun in 825, effectively ending Mercian supremacy. For the first time, a West Saxon king was able to claim overlordship over most of southern England. This resurgence continued under Alfred the Great, another descendant of Cerdic, who defended Wessex from Viking invasions and laid the intellectual and administrative groundwork for a unified English kingdom. By the time of Aethelstan, the grandson of Alfred the Great, Wessex had absorbed or subdued most of the other Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. In 927 CE, Aethelstan was crowned King of the English, often considered the first true King of England. And it all began, at least according to legend and record, with Cerdic.